Hi, my name is Lisa Bear Goldman. I grew up in New Mexico and Arizona. I was born in Albuquerque and lived there through the 8th grade and then moved to Santa Fe and then Arizona. I work as an author in Albuquerque. There are actually quite a few steps to writing a book. The first would be coming up with an idea of what it is you want the book to be about. We call that inspiration. Authors are inspired in a number of ways, but that would be the first step. After that, the writing part happens and editing. It's often good to have input, feedback from others about their thoughts, suggestions, grammatical corrections, that sort of thing. And then comes finding a publisher. After that comes the really hard work of promoting the book. To me, this is my least favorite of all the jobs involved. So that can involve setting up interviews, making yourself available for events, book signings, readings to schools, that sort of thing. And then, of course, getting the book out there for the public. It doesn't end with the writing. To me, the writing part is the most fun part, but there is a lot of work in addition to that. My mother was a librarian. She read to us a great deal when we were young. I still have some of my children's books, and when she passed away, I thought the best way I could honor her would be to write a children's book. And because I was going through that grieving process, I ended up writing about how we deal with difficult feelings, sort of a little bit of advice to kids about how to get through that, some of the roadblocks, that sort of thing. So that book is called Amadito and Spider-Woman. And I was lucky enough to get an illustrator for that that's a well-known Southwestern artist named Amado Pena. And so that's how I found inspiration. But there are many, many ways that an author can do that. I grew up in Albuquerque in a family. My father was an artist, a sculptor all of his life, and my mother was a librarian. So there was a little bit of creative energy in the home. In college, I took creative writing, poetry writing, some writing classes that I think were helpful. I would say that once I decided to write, I did join some writers' groups, and those groups provided feedback, often critiquing writing that I had done, and support and suggestions from other writers. So I think that was really, really helpful to me. And of course, there are workshops. For example, in the children's book area, we have a Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And by joining larger groups, you get information that's very helpful about the market, about writing, that sort of thing. In high school, I actually went to a number of high schools, but the teachers that I remember and credit the most are ones that were critical. So one English teacher I recall didn't just say, this isn't great, but she worked with me to let me know how to do it correctly, how to do something, say, grammatically better, or to communicate my ideas in a better way. So that really tough teacher that you might not like might really be the most helpful of all. If you are interested in writing, I would say write about what is meaningful to you, what excites you, what you really love, and what you think you want to communicate to others. The second thing I would recommend is that you not give up, that you be willing to see it as a process and one that can take a long time. And one last thing I would recommend is to read, read, read. The more you read, the more it becomes natural for you to think in terms of writing. So I would say read whatever interests you, intrigues you, and that'll go a long way